Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vibhu Jain. I'm an urban development consultant, born, raised in India. I've studied urban regional planning in India, and I've also worked with different public and private sector entities in India. But from last 10 years, I have been based in Tokyo, working as an urban development professional. Today, I'm going to talk about the regional planning in India, and I've taken the case of National Capital Region. And I would like to focus on the institutional mechanism that is involved in preparing the regional plan for the capital region. Before we start to deep dive into the NCR plans, I would like to give you a little overview of the evolution of regional planning in India. So the focus on regional planning in India began in 1947. That was the time when India got its independence from British, and that was also the time when the erstwhile India was separated into India and Pakistan as two different countries. So the challenges that were faced at that time were haphazard development and rapid urbanization, but also rehabilitation of refugees at the time. So this was the initial idea of planning, of developing regional plans so that we could address those challenges. Soon after, in 1951, the first metropolitan region plan was formulated, which was for the Mumbai metropolitan region, and that was sort of marking the beginning of the regional planning in India. Now, these plans were, at the national level, these plans were supported through 5-year plans, which started from 1951. So 1951 until 61, 1951 to 56, 56 to 61, and so on. And the emphasis on these plans on each 5-year plan was different based on the the challenges at that time. So the first two 5-year plans, they emphasized on urbanization and industrialization and how they were to be correlated and how they need to be tackled for a better and more sustainable regional development. And this was also the time when other metropolitan regions like Kolkata and Chennai, they started to prepare their regional plans. So the 90s, 60s, and 70s saw different other states and other regions trying to emulate the same features and also beginning to formulate their own regional plans. But the major shift was seen in 80s and 90s when the National Perspective Plan and the National Urban Development Strategy in 1988 and 1990 respectively were formulated. However, those were the last time that these plans were formulated, and they have discontinued ever since. In fact, the 5-year plans have also been recently discontinued, and the last one was from 2012 to 2017. So like you see, the overall approach towards planning included, first it began as an extension of urban planning, but then it evolved to integrate the physical, social, economic, and other sorts of components, and then there was this realization of focusing more on decentralization and also on local participation. This is the map of India, which shows different regions. There are approximately 19 broad regions in India, and today I'm going to be talking about the New Delhi, which is the National Capital Region, marked in blue. Again, talking about the approach, the two common approaches were top-down approach and the bottom approach, the difference being in the first one, it was more driven from the top and the national level authorities or the state level authorities with lesser involvement of the local communities and participation of private sector. However, in the bottom approach, the involvement of local communities has been seen significant. But top-down approach has been more concentrated and has been more commonly used in India over the bottom-up approach, which is something that India is now driving or is working to apply in their plans. Two examples of regional plans in India is the Mumbai Regional Plan, which is supported by the Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority. Like I just mentioned, in 1951, the first plan was formulated, but the authority was constituted in 1975. And since then, they have been implementing several infrastructure projects like Mumbai Metropolitan and the Mumbai Monorail. Second one is the National Capital Region Plan, which is formulated and promoted by the National Capital Region Planning Board. And this board was formulated in 1985, and so was the time when the first plan was starting to get prepared. They have also they have also successfully implemented several projects like Delhi Metro and the Eastern and the Western Peripheral Expressway. Now coming to the National Capital Region Plan, now the interesting, unique feature of this plan is that this is the only regional plan in India which is interstate. It has got the capital city of Delhi at its core, and then there are 3 other participating states of Haryana, Rajasthan, and UP, which combine to form the National Capital Region. Unlike other metropolitan regions, like I mentioned, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, which are at a state level plans where they do not have interstate jurisdiction. 1985 is when the NCRPB, under the NCRPB Act, the NCR Planning Board was constituted, and this is directly functions under the Ministry of Urban Development of Government of India. Key roles of NCRPB is to formulate regional and sub-regional plans, to finance infrastructure projects, and to also do project monitoring and coordination. And in the interest of time, I'm going to be running quickly over this. So starting with the role in planning, NCRPB formulates regional plans, and that's their first main role. And these plans comprise of land use plans, infrastructure plan, environmental plan, and 2 plans have already been implemented. One is for 2001 and 21, and 2041 is under preparation. And now, as a part of the environmental policy, they started focusing more on climate change and disaster risk management. Now, the next part is sub-regional plans. While the sub-regional plans are prepared by the participating states of Haryana, Rajasthan, Delhi, and UP, but they have to work within the overall framework of the regional plan prepared by the NCRPB. Third are the functional plans, which are the elaborate plans for a particular sector of the regional plan. For instance, there'll be for the transport sector, or for the housing sector, or even for the rail sector. This is a case of 2021 land use plan, which was proposed for the National Capital Region. Now, when it comes to financing, the role of NCRPB is to finance the projects. Now, how they are doing it, one is the projects under NCRPB, as part of the NCR plan, they are either financed by the NCRPBs through soft loan, which is which is given to the participating state governments, and the contribution is 75%. 25% is the contribution of the state government, and 75% is the loan from the NCRPB. And second source of funding of these projects is state governments doing it independently through their own bodies like housing boards, industrial corporations, etc. Third is grants by central ministries if the project is of the national level importance, such as railways or communication, shipping, etc. And then we have the private sector investment. This is how the NCRPB is funded, either through grants or through the contribution from the state governments, through their interest income from the interal accruals, and also, most importantly, through the market borrowings, including loans from multilateral and bilateral agencies. I'll skip this, and then we come to monitoring and coordination. NCRPB, at the board level, it's an apex body, which is, like I mentioned, headed by the Minister of the Housing and Urban Affairs Department, which is a national level entity. Then under that, we have the planning committee, which actually is the one that plans all, which supports in making all the plans. Third is, and all these powers are also segregated into for the financial powers, there are 2 different authorities, PSMG 1 and 2, depending on the scale of the project and the financial requirement of the project, they act. And then at the state level, we have the NCR cells, which are like a coordinating bodies, and they coordinate with the different, they coordinate with the NCRPB and at the region for the regional plan. Lots of completed projects already done under the NCR plans and under housing, thermal, transport, etc. Again, I'll skip this and not get into this because I want to focus quickly on the key challenges. I have 30 seconds. So first of all, there's a weak coordination between the participating states. I think that is one of the key problems of formulation and implementation of the plans, because the scale as such of the region is really big. It's 55,000 square kilometers. All the different participating states are at a different backgrounds of physical, fiscal, physical, and financial aspects. Secondly, there is a weak implementation of NCR plans because again the enforcement is low. The participating states are very financially independent and they do not adhere to the national plans, especially when it comes to the land use. Third is the lack of community participation. At the very onset, while the plan is getting prepared, the participation from the community and also from the private sector is not, since it's a top-down approach, it's not really encouraged or it's not really driven by those participation, and that, I think, leads to the lack of ownership and sustainability of development intervention. We'll discuss about the lessons later.
Could you please conclude your
thank
presentation?
you so much for your time.